Alright guys, we're going to do the St. Lawrence Bassmaster Elite recap. It was the final event of the year. Got done with Lake Champlain. Went straight there, straight into practice. Did my job on Champlain, but still needed to do my job on the St. Lawrence for points sake. Wanted to make the Classic. Left Champlain Bubble Boy on the Classic, so need to have a solid event on the St. Lawrence. So the first day of practice was a blur for me. I had a lot going on, didn't sleep good after winning Champlain for a number of reasons. It was nothing bad, but kind of was a blur. And to be honest with you, I found the fish that I ended up fishing on in the tournament that first day because maybe I wasn't rushed. Maybe I was taking my time and stumbled on to what I ended up doing. It was a very, very simple tackle and equipment approach. It was a drop shot tournament. Okay, I drifted in current and I threw the isolated fish that I would see on live scope. So during practice, I really wanted to drift heavy in the current, and that's what I wanted to do. I'm not the best at the shallow, this hair jig kind of scenario. I don't have a lot of experience in it. I have caught some big ones drifting in the current. I didn't want to play with the lake because, once again, we were Bubble Boy. We didn't want to risk it on the lake, and I decided to stay in the river. So as practice went on, I found an area that I believed was, for me, had the biggest fish. And when I say big fish, like, there's a lot of 2 to 3 to close to 4 pound fish on that system. But you'll find certain areas that you might get, a 5 or a 5+ bite. And when you start to see that kind of quality, in my opinion, they're usually not by themselves. So in practice, my first bite was a 6'9", and I followed it up with a 5 pounder close to it. So that was the area I committed to. I checked some largemouth to be safe. I couldn't get that going too good, too reliable, so I was all in on the smallmouth, all in on the drop shot. I made a very long run. I was fishing near the lake, not on the lake. And the first day of the tournament, we had a wind direction with the current, and it really had the current running hard. I noticed it very early in the day that it had the fish positioned really good, to where, what I say by that is, instead of them running up and down these whole shoals, they're going to be locked in the spot that's blocking the current, and it makes it easy to figure out. So caught a bunch of fish that first day. I think I had 19.5 range. It was a decent day for that system. A lot of 20-pound bags get caught, but it was decent. And caught them all drop shotting. MISSILEBAITS Ned Bomb, Green Pumpkin Magic. I alternated 3/8 and 1/2 ounce rain tungsten sinkers. Sometimes I needed more depending on the depth, the current. Some places the current's more constricted, it runs a lot harder, need a heavier weight. I always want to feel when I'm drifting, I need to be in contact with the bottom. When I stop feeling that, it's a bite. This, another cool thing. 961, Hayabusa 961. It's a very finessey hook for drop shotting. I love it for up there. I think the water's really clear. You need a real finessey hook. 8-pound P-line fluorocarbon. This 8-pound P-line fluorocarbon, to me, is a strong line. I don't play around with them. I know some people really play their fish out. I like to get that fish up, get his head up, get him in the boat. The longer you're fighting them, sometimes I feel like you have a greater chance on losing them. I don't play around. The 8-pound is plenty. You don't have to baby them. Had on 10-pound braid. This is a 6'9" medium Fitzgerald stunner rod. Fitzgerald stunner reel. Very good drag system. But once again, I really didn't play them that much. I got them in the boat. But the deal was, you would find a drift. Okay, you would find a drift, you make that drift, and you would notice you would get bit on the same place every time. And Also, you would notice throughout the event, you would get the best bite in certain places, and you can narrow it down. So the key for me was to have a couple really good drifts that I knew where I was getting bites. You know, if I could get the boat perfectly lined up and hit that spot, sometimes it might be just a big rock, sometimes it could be a hole, but there was a reason the fish were using it. It's something that's blocking the current better than other scenarios. I like to feel goby bites. I want to feel, you know, there's bait around. All those things come into play. The final day for me was the third day. I barely snuck into the cut, made the cut, but once I made the cut, I knew I had the classic. I knew I did good for points. I knew I had the classic under my belt. The pressure was off. First time I could relax in a couple weeks, and I just went fishing. I went down to the same places that I was fishing, but I expanded. And the current was not strong. The wind was against the current, and I ended up finding a little stretch that I had never fished before. All on my live scope, just scanning around, I saw a couple, you know, single fish in about 20 foot of water. And the first one I threw out, I watched it go down and bite my bait, and it was a 5'11". And you know, that was just the most awesome feeling to see that fish bite, get them in the boat, stand up, look over here, there's another one I throw over there, it's a 5'9". Caught a 5'11", a 5'9" on almost, well, back-to-back casts within a minute of each other. And it turned out to be a really good day. I stayed in that area, and I think I had 21 or so, and moved up all the way to 19th to end the tournament. It was a solid end to my season, but you know, a big deal was, you know, making these long runs like what we make on these big systems that can get really rough. You need your equipment to be right. You can't make that run all of a sudden your electronics aren't working, your trolling motor's not working. You need to be able to trust your Mercury Smart Craft, know how much fuel you're burning. All my equipment was flawless. I never had to go to a service trailer. You know, making an 80 to 85 mile one-way trip every day through some really rough water, test your equipment, never had a problem. So, you know, like I said, the system was pretty simple. It's St. Lawrence smallmouth fishing. I didn't want to complicate it. They eat drop shots. That's what I did. Like I said, made the classic. That was the end of my elite series season, and next event's in February, and then off to the classic.